time has come, we've had some fun.
It's time for the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Here with a load of laughs, info, and fun, it's Tony B, Dave B, and Timmy D.
Before I go alone. Don't ask me this and one more song. It ain't too costly, no, I ain't too cheap, so just relax. I'm on my knees.
Welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast, episode number 75. My name is Tony B. Alongside me, as usual, is David B. Filling in for Timmy D this morning is Susan B., who's been in the industry a long time and has got a lot of experience, and we'll get to meet her. And then we also have a topic, looks like according to the American Trucking Association, truckers saw a nice pay increase in 2021. We'll dive into those pay increase numbers. And also, I heard there was a guacamole contest that had a winner. David B. will have to key us in, and I can attest he does not have any guacamole on his shirt this morning, which means you did a good job, David B. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to everybody in the room this morning. It is a beautiful Saturday morning, and coming through, I drove the Jeep today, so a nice little Jeep drive coming over, a little chilly, but I had a sweatshirt on, so it was a nice little drive coming in from downtown Indy. This morning's show, along with all of our shows, are brought to you by The Great Divide, 743 East of New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Great place to go for after a Ship's Gonna Happen week and kind of unwind and catch a good meal, chat it up with the locals and hear some good music, and just Great Divide, downtown Indianapolis. Susan Blish, good morning, ma'am. How are you? It is a pleasure to have you in studio today.
Well, thank you. Good morning. Good morning, guys.
How are you? All right?
I'm good.
We have Susan's husband, David, with us also. David, how are you?
Failed to intro David. My bad. David, good morning.
Good morning. How is everybody?
Doing well. It's good to have you both in studio today. So we're gonna get to know Susan's a long time friend of mine. She's been in the industry for very many years, and we'll get Susan's background once we get started here this morning.
Yeah, well, and we got kind of a different intro. Rich Warren there gave us a little shout out intro. Just a reminder, we do this for the
transportainment.
Boom, right? The transportainment, right? It's just three people generally, unless we have guests, talking about what's going on in the transportation industry. We do it for the news, and that's in the industry, and none of the opinions are expressed by any entity that uses a transportation provider. So we just do it clearly for the transportainment. You can catch us on Rumble, Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and our home website, www.ShipsGonnaHappen.com, which is currently under a little bit of construction, but it's still up, so you can subscribe to that and make us get a little more popular than we are. So, but Susan, how long have you been in the industry, and what got you to get into this industry?
Oh gosh, loaded question. I was probably 31, so that's a good 30 years ago. And I had a girlfriend ask me if I could sell freight, and I was working at the Star News.
Oh, wow.
For shit pay.
Okay.
With a degree,
yeah,
right?
Right.
And I said, I need a change. I need more money. So she said, well, let's just put you on the payroll and see if you can get some freight for us. Now, this was a small little outfit that did mostly expedites.
So what year would this have been then?
I would have been 31. Well, let's do the math.
Yeah. So this would have been like in the 80s?
I think it would have been 1991. 92.
Okay, wow.
Boy, you get this old and you can't do the math. And you can't imagine yourself at 31.
Right.
When you're 3 decades older.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she says, come on, try this. So she sent me out there in my car and said, I don't know where you should go. Just go to Batesville. And I looked on the map and I said, okay, I'm going. I called on a few companies, and I get there and it's all caskets.
Oh yeah. Batesville caskets.
There's towns out there that seem to have the same industry all in a clump.
Right.
So for a foot soldier like me, you can go door to door to door to door. And within an hour, I figured out, man, They all do the same thing. And I'm asking them all, who handles your freight? What do you have shipping out? And I got a shipment on my first day.
Atta girl. There
My
you
first
go.
day.
Nice.
I sure did, out of one of the local.
Was it a casket?
It was.
It was a casket.
And you know, the worst part I still think about this, it was a baby casket.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, what is my job? What am I doing here?
Yeah.
And my boss is like, good job. It's freight. We don't care what it is. Just get it on the truck. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Give them the price. And they took it and we did it. And I was rolling from that day forward. When you get something on your first day,
Oh, yeah, you're hooked probably.
you're a shoo-in.
Mm-hmm.
She would have probably given me a month. But
and it was an expedited shipment. Your very first shipment was
it
expedited.
was, and it was going to South America.
Wow.
So I was the star of the office at that point.
Because you're getting international and all that, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
and I didn't really even know how to speak about it, but it happened. So
Look at this girl's been hired for so long and secured a good shipment out of a company that can be tough to get freight out of.
So there goes the journalism degree, and in comes the freight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was hooked from then. You're right. Hooked is a good word because it gets in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's freight degrees. Who would have thought?
Right.
Who would have thought? It's all it is moving freight. Now there's
Yeah.
degrees for it or whatever.
So then you basically, you and your husband were able to have, I'm assuming, because we don't really know each other, but assuming you raised a family and been able, and the industry's been good to you and things like that, right?
Well, sort of on a couple of those counts.
Okay.
Yeah. Back then, was I even married back then?
Not to me.
You know what?
don't
I'm
think-
going to have to think about
Not
that.
to me, David.
I don't think you.
Okay.
I don't think I was.
Mm,
I don't think so.
I don't think you were.
Because the second husband came on the scene, and you remember him. We won't mention him, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah. Well, back then, I was just working and paying my own bills,
Mm-hmm.
and for what I was making in the newspaper business, compared to what I made my first
Oh, yeah, right.
6 months in freight,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
this is good for me.
Yeah. What brought you to Indianapolis? How did you get to Indianapolis?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm one of 5 kids. I would have to say it was the divorce. My parents, we were living in Tokyo, and dad was hot for the maid. And yeah, so mom packed us up and brought us back to Indiana because
Holy cow.
her mother lived there.
Okay.
Her grandma is from Indianapolis, Anderson, actually.
Okay.
And yeah, so Indy's been home, of course, because grade school, high school, I went to Butler University. So
Wow.
I guess
Bulldogs.
go Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And there was a bulldog on that place at Ralph's Great Divide.
There was
I was
yesterday.
really glad to see that
Yeah.
when I was
They're big.
chowing down on guacamole.
Yeah, that was and not to change gears up or nothing, but that was a huge event yesterday. Thank you very much for being there.
And I hear it was full of freight people. It was
it
kind of,
was nothing but freight people.
I felt comfortable. And
Yeah, you had some good conversations
and you
with
know
some new
what?
people.
they understand the job.
Correct.
And it was just really nice to be amongst them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an energy with freight people that I feel.
Yeah, even with the younger, and there was a lot of young people
I
that
was
were there
glad to see
yesterday.
that.
Mhm.
I wish we could find young drivers,
Yeah.
Right.
We talk about
we
that.
do
It's
talk
been
about
been
that
an
quite
issue.
often.
They're all old and I'm up there too, but and when they all retire, we're going to be in a mess.
I think to talk about touch on what you mentioned earlier. I think if they just had if they're young and if they just have the right mentorship, that it shouldn't be a problem.
They'd
with
get in.
getting younger drivers.
And some of them, their
or an
fathers
apprenticeship, whatever.
work there
Mm-hmm.
at my particular LTL company. The fathers will get the sons involved,
Mm-hmm.
but there's an awful lot of kids in their 30s that want nothing to do with hard work.
Right.
I mean, I'm flabbergasted, and it pays well.
It does.
I mean, what 28 or 30-year-old guy can make
or
60
gal.
grand from day one?
Right.
Yep.
you guys, and that would just go up.
Yeah. And we've talked to Walmart drivers that, they're making, I don't know if you've heard the news, Susan, they're making over 110, 20
To start.
Yeah.
I mean,
at my company, there's a really good handful full of them that are over 60 and they're cracking six figures.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're, they got wife and grown kids, but they're surely making ends meet on that, I would think.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Which when you're young, it's all about making ends meet.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about on the show often that we think that it should be a vocational class in high school.
Yeah.
It should be at least mentioned.
Mentioned completely.
They talk about computers and all the other things these kids want to get into, but rolling up your sleeves and getting in a big rig. I mean, my husband and I have a friend who, Stan, we can say his name here. His bucket list includes being a big rig driver and going across the country.
Yeah.
And he's a professional. He's in a consulting position, and he goes, that would be so cool. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Stanny, get your CDL and come on.
Right.
If I was 18 or 19, or if I was a lot younger, I would don that brown uniform and every day be like a package delivery driver. I wish I would have done
I
something
think
like
that,
that.
you know what? Sitting here,
Because I would have kept my high
I
school
used
weight.
to work at the Brown Company.
Right.
Just a whole ton of very clean cut guys
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
doing the job.
Mm-hmm.
Very presentable.
Yep.
One of our Hall of Famers is a brown driver.
Yeah.
He's a good dude, but he just drives. He just drives like the routes. No, he goes to just. What am I looking for?
I know what you're saying.
He just swaps out semis.
Yeah, right. Swaps.
I'm not just saying does
yeah.
that. I mean, because he works hard and he's good at it.
He's a great guy.
He's a good dude.
It'd be fun. And I'm surprised I don't see more female UPS.
You don't, but I'm
Brown,
right.
the little brown truck.
Well, what I've noticed though is that it seems like Amazon does have a lot, because in my neighborhood,
Females.
yeah, they do. It seems like they may have focused on that, and but yeah, you're right. So here's the difference to me, because we've worked from home during COVID and all that, and when the UPS driver delivers a package, okay, it is professional. Okay.
What do you mean?
He backs his truck in.
Okay.
Okay. Because he's going to pull out front, because UPS you can't pull in forward. You got to
I've
back
heard.
in. Okay. I used to work there too.
They don't turn left either if they can help
Right.
it.
If they can help it. Yep. So
Yep.
always make right turns.
Yeah.
Get less the Lloyd's of London insurance. What do they call that? The actuary. Is that what
Statistics that
say,
show if you turn left, you're going to more likely to get in an accident.
in England, you can't pull in your driveway in certain parts of London. Okay. You have to back in. So because you'll get a ticket if you pull in.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's how weird they are about it. And the roundabouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about safety. But so the brown guy pulls in, backs in, walks up the sidewalk, rings the doorbell gently. Nobody answers. He lays it down, right? The others that I won't mention pull right in front of the house, walk right across the yard. And one of them just throws it. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But Amazon, I will say, does a good job too. I mean, but they will cut across the yard.
How do they know it's not a new set of dishes?
I have no idea, but the one company, it's just, I always order stuff and I'm like, I don't want them to deliver it. And it's just, and they fly up and down the street like it's 20 mile an hour in here, man. It's not 50.
I have noticed, as someone not in the industry, just driving around, that the Amazon drivers or some of the other newbie companies are less than professional with how they drive and how they park and what they're doing.
Right.
And, the little brown trucks, don't they always exit street side rather than roadside?
Exactly. Yeah.
These guys, they just throw the door open and they're in the middle of the street going, hey, where's the address?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's good. Well, good point.
Yeah. But that's my experience with it. And I think that, like you said, that'd be a huge job. And most of those drivers, Susan, help me if I'm wrong, it takes a while to become a small package driver, right? In their system. And then you're kind of like, you've really got to, there's time things between getting in the driveway, dropping the package off, getting back in your car, boom, right? They time them on all
Stops per minute, stops per hour.
Right.
Yeah, stops for a minute. Right.
It might be for them.
Wow.
They time it.
Yeah.
And I think, doesn't that truck beep while the driver is trotting up your yard?
Mm-hmm.
And then when he gets back, it stops beeping.
Right.
Kind of like he's in reverse.
Right.
Or the fries are done at McDonald's, you know. Anyway, yeah. I'd be a brown truck driver. I think it'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too. And it'd keep you
all the people
physically.
Yeah.
I'd be down to my high school weight.
And can't you do that without the special CDL? Can you drive a small?
I don't know.
Like it's like a bread truck,
yeah,
you know.
I don't think you have to have one, but I think they do. I think they make them get them. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in that. You have to get them because you may have to go back to the yard and pull a tractor. If you're still on the clock.
That's probably where I would go. Check. Goodbye.
Is it automated? Is there a screen in the truck telling them where they're going next? Or
I think so. Yeah,
okay.
they got GPS in there.
I just wondered how they do their stops or whatever.
It's pretty. They're pretty good at it, man.
They have routers.
God, yeah.
Just LTL has routers. And guys and it's kind of crazy because they're in their routing, but they're not out on the street, and the drivers know better.
Mm-hmm.
So my trucks are going around, and they change the route.
Do you know why they painted them brown?
No.
It's the cheapest color.
I'd believe it.
It was the cheapest color. Yeah.
Well, considering their spend, they are cheap. So
and then the guy who invented the company because they couldn't get mail on the West Coast.
Mm.
So he bought a plane and then started bringing mail back, and then it grew. Because I was there for a while, so I remember hearing that.
You were?
Yeah, I was there for 5 years,
probably
maybe?
right after you.
Yeah,
right. Legitimately,
I think I remember hearing your name before because Randy Thomas.
Okay.
RT was the terminal manager. I'm not the terminal manager. Sales manager.
Sales manager.
And then I took over the sales manager's role. Wait, there might have been a guy in between us. There was a guy in between us, but Randy had just left. When I took over, he was just leaving.
Well, Paul Reed was.
Paul Reed, yeah.
Oh, I
you
love
remember
Paul
him?
Reed.
Yeah.
I remember
Was he a
Paul Reed.
nice
He's
guy?
retired.
He was a hell of a dude.
Yeah.
He was overnight
he's
before
the late
you.
Paul Reed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
I think his daughter got in the business a little briefly.
I met her at the funeral, and I don't remember what she.
When did he pass away?
It's been a while.
Oh gosh, I drove down to Greenwood for that. I really liked him. He hired me with very little experience, and I told him, I said, you take me on, and I will do a good job for you, whatever it takes. He goes, well, I got to call this guy Mike that I kind of promised the job to. I said, well, call Mike right now and tell him he didn't get the job and that you made another choice. I bullied this.
Jeez.
Here.
I know. Is that bad?
Susan's like, here, fill out this hiring paperwork.
Well, no.
Here, sign there.
Here's where I am now. So, and he came to me a couple years later and he goes, you know what? That was one of the best decisions I ever made.
There you go.
So I felt
Persistency pays off, man.
Well, the way I got into freight, I mean, that was just another, I slipped in with that job too. I got lucky.
Paul Reed was legitimately
one
of the
him,
best
yeah.
people ever.
Yeah.
Ever. He was such a good dude.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
He was outstanding.
So you've been doing this for 30 years, right? And so what kind of things do you think have changed? I mean, because you know, it was been a male dominated industry, right? I mean, it's probably, I envision, you know, I've been a manager, terminal manager, sales manager, and I've seen, I know that difference, right? And so I've had to manage some things to help that situations in those situations in the past. But in your eyes, what, you know, if you can look back and graze over the 30 years as a woman, what would you say to women that want to get in this industry today?
Gosh, I would say go for it. Their road has kind of been paved by the female sales reps between the 80s and now that have stuck to it. I have female sales rep friends that are older than me that are, some are retired and some are not, but it was a tough road. Now for me, yes, tough, but I'm kind of a little fighter, and I liked working beside the men. And then what was the most fun of all was when I would come out in first place over like me and 6 dudes, right?
Yeah.
And I would have the top numbers, and then they'd all just be looking at me like,
Jealous.
how did you get that business?
Yeah.
Well, you're just being yourself when you're selling freight. That's how you get the
I know. I
business,
said, well,
so.
I learned from you guys. You've taken me out on these trial sales days. You know, when you first hire in,
Yeah.
they all put you in the car and
Right.
take you around and you learn it. And females going in, I think they'd be fine today.
Yeah. You're right. Because women, a lot of women have paved the way
And then-
in driving sales and management.
Well, and then all the 3PLs of the world have, I think it's 50-50 on male, female.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them out
Isn't
there.
your terminal 50-50? Aren't you there like 3 reps, male, 3?
We are now. See, that's new. It didn't used to be that way. I was the only girl in a few of my jobs, freight jobs,
Yeah.
and I kind of, I don't know. I think honestly, there was a discrepancy in pay, but at one of my jobs, they brought me up to market standard, and it kind of changed my life and gave me,
That's awesome.
Now it was fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should have been the whole time.
It should have been, but you know what they
Right.
ask you when you're interviewing is what can you live with?
Right.
Don't ask me that.
Right.
Tell me what it pays, but
Yeah.
they want to know. They were trying to figure out what I knew of the industry, and I didn't know. So I probably was underpaid for a long time, but I've made up for it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And it's been a great life career. Not what I thought I would do.
yeah.
But
Right.
not only your side of the business, but you would encourage women to get into all aspects of freight, wouldn't you? Like
Yeah,
whether
and you
it's
know what?
driving or
You don't need a degree.
right.
You just need to go to a small carrier, get your feet wet. And like I did, I was at an air freight company and then popped right into LTL, and I haven't looked back.
So much for journalism. Screw that.
I write a mean email, dudes.
There we go. Yes, ma'am.
Oh yeah. Hey, you probably do all the company. Hey, you have Susan write the email. Susan, can you draft this for us?
and I
They do make her
uh,
take the notes in the meetings.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's if you take the notes, you don't have to bring the donuts
Oh, okay.
Oh, there
That's
you go.
fair.
for
That's
100
fair.
and some odd guys.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's a
Ooh,
lot of
that's
donuts.
a lot of donuts.
They're heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
They make me bring the chocolate milk sometimes over Wise, so I do that. But yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
So it's
That's cool.
it's been a good career. It has,
Yeah.
and it's still going.
Yeah. You got
Yeah.
some years left.
Yeah, David and I talk about how good it's been and impactful to our lives. I mean, I wasn't in the freight industry when I got into it, and I don't want to bore you with all that, but it was it's been good to my family, been a great career, and man, it's something I didn't think I'd be doing, and it's been great.
The message that I gave yesterday and that I always kind of give, especially to the younger people, is this job is a fraternity. No matter if you're on Susan's side or my side or your side or the
definitely.
driver's side or a dock side, it's a fraternity of people that, tomorrow you can go get another job in the
Right.
industry.
It's close knit too.
Right.
Yeah.
You can get 6 freight reps together. Not even 6.
Right.
3,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to know everybody.
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, in case in point, look at the turnout from yesterday. For the Guac off, everybody was in freight.
We're going to
Yeah.
get into the guac off, David. Are we heading that way?
or whatever we want to do.
Well, Susan, you got any more words of advice or encouragement for any women that may be listening to the show? There are some that listen to the show that might want to get in the industry.
I'm never going to tell a young lady to ditch the college degree because I believe in it. And I tell all my nieces, you got to get educated. But if I could go back and I could have gotten a job this good without going to college, I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be a toss up. But I never thought I would, once I got into freight and it just kept rolling, I never thought, well, if this doesn't work out, I'll use my degree.
Right.
It just never crossed my mind because the job was that good
Mm-hmm.
and I was liking it. And you gotta like what you do.
Yeah. And I think like the college thing, most of these companies today just ask if you have one. They don't really
That's
know
right.
or care what it is in, right? I mean, I'm not working in the field I studied in college, right? So you're not now.
No.
I don't know really. My daughter might be. That's one of the few people I know that went out of college right into something that she specialized in. I think if you're other than a nurse or a doctor, right, you're not going to probably, hey, do you have the degree? It's just a check in the box thing, right?
Well, we meant to do this at the top of the show, and I feel guilty that
Here we go.
I didn't do this. Susan, we are inducting you into our Ship's Gonna Happen Hall of Fame, HAUL.
Thank you.
Ships Hall of Fame.
I meant to do it at the start of the show. I just completely spaced it. And plus, I'm a little hungover from yesterday. So.
Okay, well, I have to admit I am a little too.
Yeah, but considering all your years in the industry and everything, we want to bring you into our Hall of Fame. So
thank you. I'm not the only female member, am
No.
I?
No.
You are.
There's a couple.
You're our third female member. So out of the three that we've had on the show.
Yeah.
We try to get.
Yeah. You probably know one of them, right? She probably knows.
Or do we
one
have four?
Maybe we have
more
than that.
Four.
We have four. Yeah.
Maybe there's five.
One of them is a sales rep. Lisa. Lisa T. Does she know Lisa T?
Yeah.
AAA.
I
was with AAA.
I know her through another female rep, but I've not actually
she's probably
been able to
fifth.
Okay.
I think she's our fifth.
She was inducted. She did the show a while back.
One of our very first shows.
I hear a lot about her and all good stuff.
Yeah.
And I would like to meet her someday.
She's a good gal.
She's an awesome person. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
So,
And I been there, got the t-shirt. Yeah. Do you love that?
There you go.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Sorry, we don't have like a building Hall of Fame, but it's just in our head Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but yeah,
It's all good.
It's for all your years in the industry and stuff. So yesterday, do we want to talk about the guac off, or do we want to go into your?
Let's do topics.
Let's
The
do
topic,
that.
and then
That's
we'll
fine.
get into the guac.
Yep,
all right.
yep.
So, yeah, we'll get into.
We did raise quite a bit of money yesterday, and I'm overly impressed.
All right. Topic number one. The American Transportation Association says drivers at pay increase. So here's what they did. They did a study of 135,000 employee drivers, 20,000 independent drivers. These are LTL, truckload, and all sorts of people. The median truckload driver earned $70,000 in 2021. That's an 18% increase from the previous survey that was done a year earlier. More than 90% of truckload fleets raised pay in 2021 with an average increase of 10.9. 96% of fleets offered referral bonuses for new drivers. 54% offered sign-on bonuses. Every less than truckload fleet surveyed raised pay in 2021 with the median wage hitting $73,000. The median wage for a private fleet driver was $85,000. Non-drayage owners saw their gross revenues increased to $235,000 in 2021. The driver shortage coupled with the increased demand of goods, post-pandemic economy really drove these salaries, Costello said from the American Transportation Association. The pay increase should put to lie the myths about the nature of the job. Trucking is a path that can provide a well-paid career that Americans need. So, boom, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's definitely, we talk about this often on the show that carriers need to be, or drivers need to be getting paid more. And I wish more carriers would adopt the Walmart philosophy on how they pay. And that's just me. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion. You know, I think drivers should be more of a salaried job than a paid by the mile job. But I mean, for safety reasons and then also for stability in their income reasons and stuff too. So drivers are extremely vital and should be paid so.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that
they're essential.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, look around this room. Everything came in on a truck. Right. Everything.
Yeah.
It's true.
And when I'm out on 465, there are so many trucks. Now I know it's because 65 is cut off downtown, but I mean, it almost seems like there's more trucks than cars, but
It does.
It does.
that
seem
was only
way.
on a certain day, but I did notice the trucks all lined up like there was a way station right there. And I know there's not. They were all queued up. And they're just trucking along, one behind the other.
Yeah. They need to fix that interstate, by the way. I mean, gosh, it's a mess. But yeah, I mean, I know where I work, we've done all we can to help their raise. I've seen what the industry's done. There's a lot of trucking schools out, right? You got high schools now teaching it as a vocational education. And I think, unfortunately, the industry's got an answer coming with technology too, right? With automated trucks. So I think on the line haul portion, that's where we're going to see it first. David and I've looked into that deep. It's building and building and building and building, right? And it seems like our government is kind of pushing it that way too. So it's going to be interesting to see. We were talking about that earlier. Getting younger drivers in. And Susan, it was a crazy article I read where I talked about it on the show here, where they actually literally had the gamers at home driving forklifts on the docks. So, and they had a big interest in it. But so if you say to a young man or a woman, hey, come do this tow motor job at so-and-so company, they're not really likely going to come in at 6 a.m. right and do all this. But if they're at home and you can hook it up,
they're going to do it.
They're going to do it. So my thing is, and I don't think it's crazy, I think that's what's going to happen to trucking. We're just going to one day be driving down the road and we're not going to see anybody in the truck. And it's going to be some kid or some dude at home with a CDL that's like literally driving it.
In our lifetime?
Man, they're pretty close to being able to do that today.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me, because if you were to pay somebody, if you could pull that off, right? You already got the driverless wireless that Amazon's doing in the Southwest, right?
Okay.
Those are a driver behind following them in a car, right? So they're getting closer to like not needing the driver. The problem is they have to remap stuff GPS because they can't keep the GPS signal all the time, right? So they have to map it, then program it in instead of going live GPS because of some of the blind spots. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things I think I wouldn't have seen now that's happening, right? So
who knew that there wouldn't be a phone on your wall in the house anymore?
Exactly. I mean, geez.
With a 20-foot long cord that's tangled.
Yeah. And then Radio Shack came out with the wireless phone, right?
Yeah.
They were like one of the first ones that had a cordless phone.
Well, should what you just said take care of the driver shortage?
I think it would.
The technology will jump in and save the day.
Will.
You think?
I think it will. I think it will.
When all the baby boomer drivers retire, because it'll be an onslaught.
It will be. I mean, you're
at
talking
least at my company.
Millions. Yeah, mine too. Oh yeah. I mean, the average. I worked at Roadway for many, many years, and Roadway was big on statistics. I think at one time Roadway's average age was like 54. Right. That was before they were bought out. And that's
it's up there.
That's on the higher side. So you want it to be like 38 to 45 is what they say. But it's hard to get those younger people.
Good luck with that.
I know.
I'm thinking of the driver base that comes in where I work, and there's nobody young. They're all middle-aged, 50s and 60-year-olds.
But if you could put them at home in front of the computer,
have them drive the truck that way.
Jake would be like, "Hey man, I can make $100."
Right.
Done.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Oh my gosh, that would be nuts though.
But you still have to be worried about safety and all that.
Oh yeah.
Stuff.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. Well, they've got the one I was looking at had cameras all over the vehicle, and it would automatically shut down the vehicle. Like if there was an instance, like it just shut it down. And, so, I mean, they've got capabilities to do that. Right. So,
but then how would they get in a dock?
That's the tough part.
And
I think
some of those docks are tight.
They have to have beacons or something to hone them. I don't know. That's going to be the tricky
And you
part.
guys, the truck's parked an inch next to each other.
I know. They're so close.
It's like a body can't even, I mean, you probably can walk between them, but it doesn't look like it from the road.
It's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, but they can, on a dock, don't they know the exact route? So they could put like little dots in the road and they just kind of follow the dots. And
They could do that.
Yep.
You mean like the airplanes that?
Well, no, they're driven, but I'm just saying on an autonomous vehicle can just follow.
No, I meant the
path.
runways that have the
Yeah.
lights for the pilot to see. But I think there's a lot of variables that could happen in a truck. You're hauling what, 50,000 pounds,
Yeah.
barreling down the road. And what if a deer jumps out?
Well, that and my family down in Kentucky used to always tell me, I grew up in Chicago, when I come visit in the winter, they'd be, watch out for that black ice. So what if it hits black ice?
That'd be
Right.
So what part? Let's kind of change the subject a minute. What part of Kentucky are they in? Eastern Kentucky?
They're
Or
in
they-
Appalachia, baby, in
Are
the
they-
foothills of Appalachia.
So are my concern
where all the
is-
flooding was.
That's my concern.
None of my
So that's
family
what I'm gonna ask.
was hurt by that.
Okay.
But yeah. Thanks
Okay,
for
well,
asking,
good.
though. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the Eastern Kentucky
Yeah.
floods?
Yes.
Was it floods?
It was bad.
So your family wasn't affected.
No, no, they weren't, fortunately.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have so many, I think Kentucky has more creeks and streams than any other state. So you're talking
A lot of water.
a lot of water. Yeah.
A lot of water can get
Yeah.
over the level. Yeah.
My grandma used to always say, with thunderstorms, when I'd be down there in the summer, watch out for those roads, they'll flood. And I used to laugh. I'd be like, whatever, we're in the mountains. What? And then I learned what happened to her when she was a kid, that the road flooded and they had one chance to get across the road and her dad drove through it and barely made it. And, so it was in the news, but it's serious though, I guess the flooding, just like it would be anywhere, but we live in flat plains, right? So we could probably, the flooding there would be much more different, much more severe because it's going to take down.
I think this is 2 consecutive years where they've had flooding like this.
Yeah.
Right? I believe.
Yeah. It gets dry out and it just won't collect the water like it once did. So, but yeah, I'm glad that most of those people feel bad for the ones that lost their lies, right? And,
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. So, David B., there was a huge event happening Friday in the state of Indiana called the Guac Off.
So yesterday was Guac Off Friday. It was our 3rd annual Guac Off Friday, and it went really, really well. We raised $1,475.
Nice,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Off of $5 samples?
Yeah, well, one company donated $1,000.
Okay, well, that helps.
Yeah, Direct Express Logistics. Thank you very much. They donated $1,000.
Wow.
It was a great day. It was an awesome turnout.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody for showing up. Thanks to everybody that made donations. If you were unable to show up, it just went really, really well. It was definitely a Ship's Gonna Happen Hall of Fame day. There were quite a few
quite a
Hall of
lot there.
Famers there. John Brockett,
Johnny B.
Jeremy, Bill, Matty Ice, and
Jeremy was there.
yeah.
Okay,
He
Maddie was there. Cool.
That was an awesome table to sit at.
Oh, I bet.
The conversations. We need to have Jeremy and Bill in studio one day.
Oh, yeah.
Together
And Tim.
Yes, I'll just kick back and listen on that one. So,
Open mic.
yeah. So it was awesome to have everybody there. It was an excellent turnout. Thank you to The Great Divide for doing an awesome job. Thank you to Donna. Donna is kind of the one that helps spearhead this thing. She did an awesome job. It just went very, very well. And it was a beautiful day. It was awesome. It was about sunny and 80, and it was outstanding. And I don't remember a whole lot after that. We ended up going to the Rathskeller.
Oh, yeah, that's a good time.
That was a good time. So
Who was the beneficiary of all these?
it was for the Indiana Blind Children's Foundation.
Very
So,
good
Oh,
cause.
yes,
awesome.
Thank you for asking, David.
Thank you.
Yeah, it went really well. So I'll be dropping off they already have it. Direct Express made the donation directly to the foundation, and then I'll be
Nice.
delivering the rest of it. So it went awesome. It was just such a good time. I bounced around from table to table and got to talk to everybody. And it was good to have it. The Shelbyville guys were there.
So
Who won?
So Eric with R2X Logistics won. So
okay.
he He had a different guacamole.
I
His
think I
was-
met Eric before.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Was it the one with the corn and the
It was.
and the black beans?
Yeah.
I was teetering between that one and the other.
So
which one did you vote for?
Honestly,
Did you vote for that one?
No.
Okay.
Which one?
Do you know why?
No.
Because the guy sitting right next to me, he goes, I really like number 4. And I said, I do too. But I like number 12 too. So he picked 4, so I picked 12.
Okay.
So Tim's was 12.
Oh, it was Timmy D. So who finished second? Timmy D. So now, what are the rules going into the guac? Because just any guac shows up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had 14 of them this year.
Okay. Wow.
And how did you
14.
place?
Not very well. I had 4 votes, which I'm last, so I didn't get last this time. So I finished probably towards the bottom, but which just baffles me. So I think, in my own opinion, and I appreciate everybody for coming and being there. So Tim and I, what we do is we wait till the very end, and we get our own plates, and we get a plate, and then we judge together. We kind of do the process of elimination. The one that won was the first one we booted. We're like, no,
Really?
yeah, it wasn't. Just my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
And we didn't know, so we didn't know whose was whose, and we whittled it down to the final 2, number 3 and number 12. I swear neither one of us knew what our numbers were. Our numbers were 3 and 12.
So yeah.
I was 3 and Tim was 12.
Oh, that's good.
And Tim got second place by 1 vote.
So no controversies on the anything. No.
Stuffed ballot box. And
There
everything.
was.
there
There
was.
Chads.
Was there?
There was.
David, seriously?
That's okay. It's
Hold on,
for
wait,
a
wait.
charity. It's for a charity.
I know. It's all
for
good.
a charity.
But
What?
I don't give a
Did
shit.
something happen?
The
I missed it.
R2X, all the R2X people voted for their guac. So
Okay. So they overloaded the system.
So that's why they won.
Were they absentee ballots?
No.
Okay.
Well, how did they know it was theirs? I mean, if it's
Because
blind.
it had corn and it
Well,
had
you
corn
probably
and black
recognized
beans.
yours, didn't you?
No.
It was
Really?
hard to tell because Dave said his had red specks in it. Well, that's peppers.
Well, no. Red onion. It
Oh,
was red onion, not red specks, not red peppers. It
you know, that
red
was
onion.
good in the guac. We'll do that if we ever do it at home, but we eat out Mexican so much that who makes guac at home? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, but to me, like, Mexican food at home is better than out. Just my opinion.
Who's cooking? You got somebody that can cook that?
I do.
Oh,
David's a
The only thing I can't do well is
Shazam.
salsa. There's no store-bought salsa that is good as restaurant salsa.
Yeah, you're right.
That's my own opinion.
yeah.
I believe
All
that.
Yeah.
store-bought salsa to me is complete
I have a
crud.
girlfriend that makes it scratch and it's outstanding.
Really?
It
Yeah.
is,
Okay.
but it's a pain. You ever made homemade salsa?
Yes, and you got to
Once.
when
That's why.
when you're canning, you have to go through the steps of canning. And I am the recipient of 12 or 13 jars every year, and I love it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I do
Have to-
appreciate good salsa. And
Mhm.
you know, there wasn't salsa yesterday; it was just guac. It was all
Right.
about the guac.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was a suggestion to change it to salsa, which maybe we'll do. I don't know. But
So how long did the team that? What did they say their ingredients were and stuff? How
I
long did
didn't
they
ask.
take to?
I don't know.
to
I
make
didn't-
it? Did
I
they
didn't
get into
ask.
details?
I woke up so I went into work at 10 o'clock Thursday night, went home at 2 and took a nap. I got up at 9:30 and I made mine at 9:30 in the morning.
So you spent a couple hours on yours, right?
No,
Or no?
no, half hour maybe.
Half hour, yeah.
It's just mashing the avocados and throwing all the ingredients in.
Gotcha.
So there was nothing to it.
Did you have the family do a taste test?
Well, Hannah was the only one home and she refused. So
Just because it was green and mushy.
no, because it was 9:30 in the morning and she was just waking up and I was bothering her.
Yeah,
I'm
No,
like, hey,
you
try
can't-
this.
you
She
can't
goes-
blame her.
She goes, no.
Guac for breakfast.
She- and then the next question is what are you doing here? And I'm like, well, what do you mean?
Why are
Can
you
I
still
ever
here?
take a day off? Jeez, I didn't even take the day off. I just took a half a day. So
Hannah, forget the milk and donuts. Get over here and try
Yeah.
this guac.
no, leave me
That's
alone, Dad.
hilarious.
But it went very, very
Sounds
well.
like
and
it.
it was, Susan can attest to the turnout. The turnout was phenomenal.
So was it
Yeah.
packed?
Yeah.
Wow.
Packed more than normal. Like there's
Yes.
the normal lunch crowd
Yes,
and then
I was
everybody that
telling
we
my
bought.
husband that the Ralph's Great Divide was full
Packed. Wow.
on a Friday
Mhm.
noon.
Yeah. Yep.
Which
That's awesome.
Lunch crowd is one thing, but that
Yeah.
event filled the house.
I just
It was fun.
Francois there?
and I don't know. Francois is only on a Thursday.
Oh, Thursdays. That's right.
I would, and I'm not trying to be. I wish they were better staffed. That's all I'll say. It's just I wish they were better staffed.
They did okay.
They did fine.
They did okay.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did fine.
Yeah.
Well, it can get busy in there, man.
But I
You get
warned
that
them.
many people.
I warned them. I'm like,
Because if the patio's packed, I mean,
that's
they're-
where everybody was.
Wow.
Pretty much on the patio.
Amazing.
Well, and it was a nice day. I think if it were
Beautiful
blistering
day.
hot, everybody would have been inside.
Yeah, and that would have made it worse.
And there was some day drinking, I assume.
Oh yeah. Oh, was
Well,
there?
how does an
I
establishment get by without day drinking?
I started with a Coke. I'm going to stick with Coke until like 4 p.m. That lasted
Yeah, well, you
maybe
don't
a
last
half
long.
hour.
Well,
Baby,
you know
you're
what?
tricking
half
yourself.
You know what they say. You can't drink all day
If you
unless
don't
you start in the morning.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
I like that.
You're tricking
I like
yourself,
that.
David.
I know. Well, as everybody else starts doing it. Well, so when John Brockett shows up, he automatically is
yeah.
like, get Dave too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
shit. All right.
Well, yeah, but you drink out of these little
Glasses.
4-ounce glasses.
But you
so
can,
when you say
you can
two,
polish off a whole
Diamond D
beer
glass.
Yeah.
4 ounces at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was
Those
fun.
little
We did a
glasses.
lot of
Yeah,
shots
I like
too.
those.
I know we did shots.
He takes a lot of grief for those, but
Yeah.
they remind me of my childhood.
That's
So.
just, I mean, like I told the story.
They're jelly jars. They're those miniature Smucker's jelly jars. And we didn't have a lot of money. And Mom says, let's just buy 6 jellies and we'll be home free on the dishes.
There you go. Yeah.
6 people drinking OJ and
Yeah.
one little can of concentrate and the glass looks just like the one you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
they
at the
take me back for OJ.
At the Catfish restaurant I grew up working in, that was how
Cat
they
piss?
fish or whatever.
it may have tasted
It
like
sounded like you just said cat piss, but I need my ears checked.
That's all right.
That was awesome.
The Cat Piss restaurant, the Catfish restaurant that I worked in. That's how they served every beer. They served every beer with a small glass on top. And so
David's
when I saw that at the Great Divide, I'm like, I'll take one of those.
I'll take one.
So
I've never known a place that kept small glasses as their
Yeah, I
glass
know.
collection.
I think, well, it's because David's special. We're gonna get.
I don't know about
They
that.
probably did buy them just for
We're
him.
gonna
No, I
get a
don't think
D
so.
and a B on those glasses and
There we
create a
go.
new set.
There we go.
The glass line
So
from day to B.
we've already started talking about lining it up for next year. So
Oh, good.
The
So-
Great Divide mentioned that, hey, let's do it again next year.
So overall, smashing success, better than last year turnout and all that.
As Susan mentioned, to raise that kind of money for $5 a shot, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I can't beat
So,
that, right?
No.
Yeah.
And actually, it was too much guac for one person to taste 14 guacs. So, yeah,
That's a lot.
I just made that my lunch. And I do
Yeah.
love guac, so it wasn't hard to sample 14 of them.
They still had a really good lunch crowd. I wish I would have ate.
Did Timmy D have a hard time turning the trophy over?
I didn't pay attention
Okay.
much to that really. There is a picture of the two of them with their trophies, but
Okay.
I don't even.
Is it like the trophy a giant avocado or something? I mean,
Yeah,
what do you
it should be.
actually
So
win?
they're plates. It's almost like Wimbledon. They're plates.
Like Wimbledon.
Then the plate
Nice.
comes back every year. So it lists who won, and, on both plates, who was.
You mean
first
like a
and
dinner
second.
Plate,
Kind of a decorative.
Yeah, it's kind of like a decorative plate.
Like Wimbledon,
Mexican plate,
except it's not in London,
Right.
and here.
and it's not made of gold.
It's at 743 East
Yeah.
New York Street.
There we go.
Let me
There's
hit this real quick.
there is a picture.
Oh,
Of,
wait, not that. Go ahead, David.
I don't know what I'm doing anymore, Tony. So I'm just looking for a picture
This
of the
is
trophy.
Hall of Fame
so-
member Walmart Rich, and you're listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast.
Oh, so here Jeremy got last place. So there's the
Jeremy got last
Jeremy got last
Yeah.
place. I didn't look at the picture that good.
Oh, I gotcha.
So Jeremy drives for Brown, the guy all the way. To
He
the-
got last. Was Tim rubbing it in?
No, I don't think
Okay,
so.
good.
There might have been banter about that,
Little
but I
banter.
don't think I didn't pay much attention. That was the fun table to sit at. Though.
Oh, I could imagine that.
When I got there, I got squeezed into my corner on at my table, and that was I'm in the perfect spot.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So again, thanks to everybody for showing up. Thanks to everybody for donating. We did raise money for a great cause. And if anybody listening has an idea for a cause next year, please feel free to let us know, and we'll maybe give it to a different cause next year.
Thanks, David B. I mean, that's a good. Sounds like it was an awesome time. I missed it.
Yeah, it was definitely not the same without you being there.
Yeah,
So
appreciate that. You saying that.
in my head, I can't wait for St. Patty's Day. I know where because Tony at St. Patty's Day is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm
a lot of fun.
Ubering on St. Patty's
The
Day.
Golden Ace. Have you guys ever been to the Golden Ace on St. Patty's Day?
Oh, it's a great time.
Oh, it
I haven't
is.
even
It's a
heard of it.
blast.
Is
The
it
Golden
downtown?
Ace. Yeah, it's on East Washington Street, just half a mile from downtown, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Not the bestest neighborhood, but it's an awesome
It's
time.
not next to like the biker bar where there's like the outlaw gang that got busted a couple weeks ago.
Further toward town. Further.
What is it, Dave? What is it known
So
for?
it's safe. Yeah. Okay.
It's, I think
So
I'm
the
assuming
oldest-
it's safe. It's the oldest Irish bar
In town,
at least in
or in
Indiana.
Indiana.
So it's
been around a while.
It's one of the top 10 places for a St. Patty's Day celebration, according to some
Yeah, right. Yeah.
publication.
Golden Ace.
The Golden
They
Ace.
still have a payphone inside you can use.
Yeah, it's really
They do.
it's really
No
one of those.
kidding.
Yeah, they do.
It's really one of those
Thought
places.
it was
taxi.
cool. Yeah.
It's really one of those places that you shouldn't just go to on St. Patty's Day. It's a place that you should go every now and again.
That St. Patty's Day was a blast. It was one of my favorite times, man.
That's
That was a
in my
good time.
mental vision of you. It was so you had such. It was awesome to see you be able to get to unwind.
Yeah.
Normally you're not. Normally you can't be that way.
No, I know. It was a good time. I loved it.
And that was a freight day.
Yeah.
There was a ton of people in freight
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. There were people from, all over town showed
Yeah.
up there.
Yep. And a lot of those faces were there yesterday too.
Yeah.
So at the Guac off. So it was a really good day.
It's
So
awesome.
Guac off Friday.
I was in good company.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
got to meet new people.
Yeah.
A lot of new
That's
people.
awesome.
She met Joel. I don't think you've met Joel Hale yet. He played football at Ohio State.
No.
He runs R2X, and they're the people that won. He's a good guy. So
Okay.
it was nice to see Susan.
Well, then it couldn't go to a better guy. I didn't make the connection with who won. And
Yeah, so
was
it
him.
wasn't him, but was one of his employees that made it. So Eric,
Okay.
I don't think you ever did meet Eric. Eric was the taller, bearded gentleman, younger.
I heard the name thrown around,
Mhm.
but I didn't. There were so many people. I didn't. Next. I'll
Yeah.
meet him next time.
Yeah,
I hope.
it'll be a lot of fun. So it is a lot of fun.
So David Blish, what do you do, man? We introduced everybody and really kind of apologize.
You're fine. I
Tell us
do
about
not
you.
do freight. I'm
Okay.
sorry to say. I learned by osmosis from Susan, but I am a healthcare consultant.
Okay,
by
wow.
train. So I work with hospitals and physician groups, and mainly on business relationships and finances and money, things like that. So
So
that
how
keeps
is it
me busy.
How has your business been?
Good. COVID kind of retrenched a lot of firms, and but even with COVID, there were so many federal regulations that had to be looked at and analyzed, and the government paid all the hospitals and physician groups to keep them solvent, because when COVID happened, most states had a elective surgery ban.
Right, I remember
And
that.
hospitals and ambulatory surgery centers make a lot of money off
Sure.
elective surgeries. So when that revenue stream dried up, they had to figure something out, and the government helped with CARES Act funding to keep them whole. But there's a lot of paperwork involved, and that's why you need consultants to help figure out what's going on and how much you got and what to do with it and how much you should have gotten, and how to document how you spent it and things like that. So that kept us busy through COVID. Coming out of COVID, things are just picking up back
That's
to
great.
normal. So it's a good industry. You got to realize that like the transportation industry, healthcare is an essential service, and it's almost a fifth of the
Definitely.
GDP.
Yeah, no doubt.
So it's kind of a recession-proof industry. So I'll more or less always have a job until they fire me at this one. I'll find another one.
So how long have you been doing it?
My little elevator speech is I started working in a hospital when I was 21, and I'm into my 50s now. And so I've pretty much been in healthcare that entire time.
Wow.
Now I've taken time off to go to school and things like that. I've been in consulting for the last 15 years of that. I worked in the provider side at some large hospitals in the Midwest early in my career. But
he won't tell you, but he has a double master's.
Oh, wow.
Don't you, sweetie?
Nice.
I did my fair share of graduate payments. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Wow.
Man, congratulations. I mean, that's double masters. That's not easy. You think about getting a PhD?
No. Thank you, but no.
Man, you get a PhD and just hang out at a university,
And
you know?
Yeah, but I don't think so.
He's going to pay the way when old girl retires.
Yeah. When she finally says, take this job and shove it, I'll have to pick it up. But I've told her, it's like, well, when we go down to one income, you're on allowance, hon. And she said, well, that'll keep me working. She's not going to be beholden to me for, $20 a week or whatever it is.
So now, David Blish, are you originally from Indiana area?
Yeah, I grew up in Bloomington. So
oh, wow.
I've been around here.
What was that like growing up in
Bloomington's a great town. It's a college town. You get used to it. Yeah, I had a great childhood from my perspective. I mean, it's the only one I've ever had.
Ha ha ha.
I enjoyed it. A lot of fun time. Bloomington's kind of like two different towns at once. During the school year, when you have 30,000 students running around, it's different. Mm-hmm. And then during the summer, when they're all gone, it's back to normal Southern Indiana kind of things. But it was good. It kind of spoiled me. If you grow up in a college town and you moved out of a college town, it's like, well, where's the art stuff?
Right.
Yeah. So we got kind of used to that. And it's one thing that Susan and I have in common is a love for music. So we go back there often to Bloomington and partake in mostly the music stuff. So it was enjoyable.
That's awesome. Time. Yeah. Cause the reason I ask you is I grew up in Chicago, obviously in the suburbs of Chicago, and my sales territory at one time at Roadway was Southern Indiana, Bloomington. I used to love it, man. I loved it going down. It was area. So beautiful in Bedford and all that. It is
a beautiful country down there. Yeah. People think of Indiana as a flat and hilly. But then, someplace around Martinsville, it gets real rugged.
Right.
And, the farther south you go, closer to the Ohio River,
the limestone too.
Very
changes the terrain.
And, karst topography. Yeah. So you got sinkholes and other things that pop up pop down, I should say. But it's a great time. And of course the fall foliage, the leaves, Brown County.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah. Gorgeous,
very good,
man.
Yep.
There's a good vibe in Bloomington.
I think so too.
It's part of my territory. And
it's changed a lot though. I mean, it's not quite as homey as it used to be, but I think that's just what it's like when you get older and, where you grew up is always different in your memory from reality.
We take it for granted probably.
Yeah.
One regret is possibly I did not go to school there. So I, graduated high school and I couldn't see the logic of my parents paying for me to live in a dorm 2 miles away.
Right.
So I went to a satellite up in Indianapolis, IUPUI.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
a great school.
It is on paper, but at the time it had no residence life. So, I mean, there's like literally 400 people that lived on campus.
Right. They just recently did all that.
It's a commuter. Yeah. It was a commuter campus. And this is way back in the 80s. So yeah, I kind of wished I would have stuck around Bloomington to enjoy the party atmosphere and that aspect, but I've made up for it, so that's okay.
Well said.
It is well said.
That's awesome.
It is.
David B, you got any
random thoughts? No,
I might got one.
Do you?
Yeah. Okay.
Because my random thought was the Guac off, but
okay, I'm sorry.
No. It's all good.
I was just thinking about comedians.
Okay.
Who, if you had one comedian you could pick, because I just stumbled on one not too long ago, and I was like, wow, I couldn't believe that person's great.
Who my favorite comedian would be?
If you had to, let's say they're all alive right now, even the ones that are might be passed away. If you could, hey David, your favorite comedian's coming to town.
Well, I don't know. Susan, do you have anybody?
Oh my gosh.
We saw
I bet you.
Emo Phillips.
Oh, and he was phenomenal.
Okay.
Remember him?
You guys heard of him?
Yeah.
He had the real sing-song deliveries. The teacher said I was cheating, and she must have heard the photocopier. I don't know.
Yes.
Emo Phillips. Yeah, that's a good one.
He's something else. My all-time favorite's George Carlin. He's passed,
Oh, that's a good one.
but
That
he's
is a good
a
one.
word man.
Yeah.
7
And
words we can't say on podcast.
Not those words.
Yeah, right. On podcast.
It was
Funny.
how come
good.
1 has a W and then it must have slipped down into 2 because 2 doesn't need the W.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
numbers. Yeah.
He's
So
intelligent, man.
he thought of, and you don't, how does he say it about when he goes, you don't take a shit. He goes, don't you leave one?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was one of the 7 words, I believe.
Was it? Oh, it was. Yeah.
Did I just say shit
yeah,
on
that's
the
all
air?
right.
Twice now.
I get in trouble for it every week.
Dave's got his own button over here.
Yeah, it's I don't say it intentionally.
No,
it's just
he
like
doesn't.
it's out of frustration. Or you like
It's
those?
almost in the vernacular. You can't avoid it.
Right, that's a good point. So the George Carlin, that's an excellent
I
choice.
love him.
I wouldn't even have thought of him. But
I got to see him live one time at the Clues Hall in Butler campus.
I saw Jimmy Fallon there once,
that would have
been
long
good.
time ago. Yeah,
That'd be
back
good.
then it was good. Today I don't know that I could sit through Jimmy Fallon.
Oh my God.
Well, and then there's Ron White, and you
Yeah.
can't go wrong
Here's
with him.
Carlin right here.
Now,
Oh,
something else a lot of you are aware of. Those of you with illegal cable hookups will be aware of the fact that one of the things I like to do in my shows is complain. You know, it's kind of a motif for me,
Yeah.
complaining. And of course, this weird culture we live in leaves you no shortage of things to complain about. So this next piece of material, like most good ideas, is fairly simple. It's just a list of people who ought to be killed.
Yeah.
go George.
Little George there. Yeah, that's a good one.
What about you, Tony B?
You know, you said George, and I thought about mentioning him, but I recently stumbled on I like comedians, but for some reason I got into this Jackie Gleason thing, and so I started like watching this. Jackie Gleason had his own variety show, and I was shocked that Rodney Dangerfield was on it way back then.
Back in the day.
Boy, that's a good one.
Oh my gosh. And I'm just watching this guy, and then I dig into him a little bit, and he's Milton Berle's favorite comedian. He's Jackie Gleason's favorite comedian. And they claim that all of them stole off Rodney Dangerfield back in the day because he was so funny. So, but going back, I'd have to say if Rodney Dangerfield was in town, I'd probably go see him.
He had some great one-liners. I mean,
You know what? I did see him in Vegas.
You did?
I did. And he cracked us up at the end of the show. He does what you think is going to be the last hurrah. It was a great joke. And then he goes, am I allowed to cuss on here?
You already have been.
You already
well,
have.
nothing harder than what you've done.
Okay, well, here's what he said at the very end. He just looked at the audience. He was quiet. We were quiet because we wanted to know what was going to come out of his mouth. He goes, everybody, get out of here. Get the F
Oh, yeah.
out of here.
Yeah.
And it was like, we busted out laughing at that
Yeah.
and stayed in our seats hoping he'd say something else. But
Here's a little bit from him.
I got no sex life. 10 years ago, my wife put me on hold. My old man, he didn't help at all, my old man. We used to play tag and he'd drive. Wait, it's not easy being me. When I was born, the doctor told my mother I did all I could, but he pulled through anyway. I mean, nobody was nice.
This is
My
good
mother
stuff.
never breastfed me. She told me she liked me as a friend.
oh my God,
The other one he has is when I was young, I was so ugly they had to tie a stake around my neck to get the dog to play with me.
Yeah.
I get no respect.
David, there's no. Go ahead.
I was going to ask David Blish, what if you have a favorite comedian of all time?
I don't know. You know, when you're young, you see like when we were growing up, they had the HBO comedy specials.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And those kind of like introduced me to that comedians. But one of my favorites was maybe Stephen Wright. And he had
Stephen Wright was
Oh,
incredible.
he's
he had
excellent.
the very
Yes.
dry delivery, but such witty stuff.
Yeah.
I just loved his stuff. You know, it's like, it's a small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, just things that you think about and go, what the hell?
Yes.
yeah. No, that's a good one because I like those guys that are subtle like that.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, the late one that I have to wait. The last one of the late ones that Rodney Dangerfield had was that his mom made him sit on the windowsill and wouldn't allow him to go out and play with the kids on the street because they were so poor and he was so ugly she didn't want to get charged for a hate crime.
Oh no.
Very cute.
Yeah, that's like, whoa, dude.
Well, that, and he
That's
had things were getting hot in the back seat of the car with my wife, and I don't know, she must have seen my eyes in the rear view mirror. She said, "Hey, keep your eyes on the road."
Here's Stephen Wright. Here you go.
The Johnny Carson show. Man.
Yes.
Yeah, here we go. Get a little bit of this.
I had a dream that all the babies prevented by the pill showed up. They were mad.
They were mad.
I was cesarean born. Can't really tell. Although, whenever I leave a house, I go out through the window.
It's kind of funny, right?
Okay.
Yeah, go through right through there. Yep. So, yeah, good stuff, man.
I would say Lewis Black.
Lewis
Modern,
Black.
yeah.
Yeah. People really dig him. I've not really ever gotten into him, but his name pops up a lot.
Yeah, Lewis Black is good.
Here we go.
That's extremely kind. I got to be honest, you people are really more happy to see me than I've ever been to see myself. I'd like to welcome you to a night of a million opinions. I think that's more than we're not gonna even get close. If that's what you were expecting, if you said, boy, I can't wait to hear a million opinions. If we went through a million opinions, your ears would be bleeding by the end of it. We'll be lucky if we have 17 opinions. This is a group of comics. This isn't a think tank.
He's hosting the Just for Laughs show. I might not have picked the best one there.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, he's good stuff.
Yeah, he is very good.
He's awesome. That's a good one, David.
Yeah. So when growing up, it was definitely Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy was
Yeah,
the
I'm not
bomb.
sure you can. I'm not sure you can. Play any of his stuff.
Eddie Murphy Raw. That was. I'd laugh.
Well,
so
and then
hard.
Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Now he's a little before our age, but
Fred Sanford was good too.
Oh yeah. Well, going way back, Buddy Hackett apparently really killed at Vegas Strip. So
Buddy Hackett. Oh my God. You remember that movie where they it's all I watched it when I was a kid, got into it.
Oh,
I think Buddy Hackett was in it when they
Music Man, Shapoopy.
Well, there was a different one
okay.
where they have they're trying to look for the money, and there's all these actors and actresses.
Mad World.
Yeah,
That was a funny one.
Yeah,
but
it's hilarious.
A very period, right?
I always thought Rowan Atkinson was very funny too.
I don't know that person.
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
Oh, Mr.
Well, he's
Bean.
a physical comic, so
Right.
Yes.
watching him is very funny. But he's got a new one out on Netflix. It's a Man versus Bee.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
I saw the first
Yeah.
episode, and it was cute, but it was essentially Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean. He's English, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There's a lot of good English comedians, right? I mean, they got a different sense of humor. It's kind of more wittier than ours.
Yeah.
It's a little more
Fair.
I'm trying to think. There's a couple. Ricky Gervais, right?
Yeah, and
He's
some
hilarious,
people
man.
I
love
like him.
Some love and some hate him. My daughter hates his stuff.
Yeah,
He's very opinionated. He's the one that did was at the Oscars.
Yeah.
and said to the room full of celebrities, "Your opinion is nothing. No one is here to hear your opinion.
Right.
So pick up your damn trophy, say thank you, and go home."
right. Yeah,
That's harsh.
it was harsh, but I think it was needed. I don't know.
Well, I mean, then you're going to censor everybody.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I get it.
Or you
but-
get smacked in the face.
Yeah.
Oh, that happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
He apologized for that recently, and I don't know. I didn't see it live. I just read the stories, and I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It is.
Yeah. Crazy.
You put a suit on, you better behave. I mean, they're all dressed to the nines, and then they get in a little smacky fight like that.
Right.
Yeah.
2 grown men.
Yeah.
Well, I've always thought they can push the line sometimes when they
mentioned his wife.
Yeah,
I mean,
when you go into that's
any normal man would
want to
defend her.
Yeah.
And plus, she actually did have a condition.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to take an opposing view and say, if you're a celebrity, you got to get used to taking some shots.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. If you put yourself out there,
you should execute. Yeah. Right.
Well, there's that.
Because there's laws on that, right? Like if you're a celebrity, you can't like sue the media for filming you. Right. But if they came up
nothing you can see. And if you could see something, it's filmable or whatever,
But I mean, if the media is hounding you and I, we would have repercussions versus a celebrity who.
Yeah. It's the expectation of privacy.
Yeah.
We have it now to a certain extent. They have it if they're in their own property, but out in public, maybe they don't. I don't know.
Right.
Huh. It's amazing.
I read an interesting story about Kevin Bacon. He's so famous that he said one time he had one of his costume people help him design a disguise, a wig and like a prosthetic nose or something, so he didn't look like Kevin Bacon. And he went out in public. He hated it. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm so used to being famous and, doors opening for me literally or figuratively that it sucked to be a normal person. So he never did it again. Wow. Now that's a story. I have no idea if it's true.
Right.
Well, I want something that makes me look like Kevin Bacon then.
It would take a lot of surgery.
6 degrees of separation, right?
Yeah, that's the Kevin Bacon thing.
Yeah. Man, he's been in a lot of shows. Gosh, a lot.
Almost everything. So going back to Animal House.
Mike Epps is a funny guy too. He's from Indianapolis. So
Mike Epps,
he has a Netflix special out now, Filled at the Madam Walker. It's really good.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Well, you guys, David, you got anything else, brother?
No, not right off. Not till I start driving home and I remember we
should have talked about that.
Did Susan share my Guac off theme song?
No, sir.
Oh. He sends me this text and he said, "Where are you?" I said, "Well, I just left the Guac off and I'm in my car and I said my goodbyes and all this." And he goes, "Go back in." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Go up to Dave and sing this song." He found a play on words of guacamole.
Well, that old war, Edwin Starr.
What is it good?
So it was like guac. What is it good for? Putting on the chips.
Yeah, I like that.
Absolutely nothing.
I could just imagine this whole bar singing that.
Can we get that? Can you pull that next year when we need it, Tony, out of the show?
Yes.
We'll use that song, can we? With Dave's permission.
Well,
it's not his song, but
let's talk rights.
Yeah, there we go. Royalties. Yeah, exactly.
No, but I wasn't going to go back in, stand in front of you and sing the Guac song. But next year.
You probably could have done it, and I wouldn't have remembered at this point.
I wouldn't have done it very well. I can tell you that.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it good for?
Putting on the chips.
Yeah. Guac. What is it good for?
Spreading on the dip.
I like that. That's a hell of an idea.
Awesome.
That is a great idea.
Right. We can cut that up. Man.
See, I thought that would, just make a bar full of drunk people very happy.
But I don't know if I could have pulled it off.
David Blish.
But you guys just did it beautifully. Because you're professionals.
No, I don't know about that.
At this audio stuff.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
We just show up on Saturdays and we spitball most of it. So
yeah. Well, shoot, man, this has been a great show. Susan, I'm glad we finally got you in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
David, it was awesome meeting you.
Well, he was my driver.
Yeah.
I'm the chauffeur.
The chauffeur.
I drive all week, and if I don't have to drive on the weekend, I'm happier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you understand the driving gig.
God, yeah. It's a lot. But I just wanted to thank you for being a professional in the industry, and congratulations to all the success you've had in your career. And
thank you.
And you're really a great example to women out there that want to know, or if they think I can't make it in that industry, you're a good example of, man,
Absolutely,
just put your
they
nose
can.
to the grindstone and get it done.
Go to Batesville.
And welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen Hall of Fame.
Yes. Yeah. David B., anything else, brother?
I'm good.
David Blish, pleasure meeting you, sir.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
You want to call us out, man?
Yeah. One more thing. Can we have you back maybe in the next 6 months or something? Would you be interested in coming back on the
If
show?
you guys want me to.
Oh, absolutely. It's be fun. Bring your hubby too.
So thanks again to everybody for participating in the Guac Off yesterday. It was an outstanding fundraiser and it went very, very well. Now we have our own little theme song that we can use for next year too, hopefully, or whatever. And thanks to all of you for listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast.
There we go.
This is Hall of Fame member Walmart Rich, and you're listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast.
Boom, we're out.